I think we need some change, or we need some leadership. This state has had had a vacuum of leadership over the last 7 or 8 years. We've had the Speaker of the House go to jail. We've had a governor that gets impeached. We've had a Chief Justice removed for the second time. We've had a U.S. Senator appointed under suspicious circumstances. I think people need change. They need leadership. And I think that people are beginning to see now that a one-party state in this just doesn't work. We need to have dialogues. And the only way you can have dialogues is to elect people from different views and have them sit down and talk. We can offer that. We offer the opportunity for people to come in and not always agree, but to sit down and have some dialogue to see if we can together find that common ground. You know, I've believed for a long time that despite the political rhetoric, there's so many more issues in the state of Alabama that we have in common with each other than that divide us. But right now, our political leaders just kind of exploit the divisions that we have and not try to reach that common ground. So that's why I think that this campaign can be successful. I think people will respond to that.
One of the most divisive issues this season has been health care, the repeal and replacement plan for Obamacare. Where do you stand on that?
Well, I think it's being more divisive in Washington, D.C. than it is in the state of Alabama. It's being divisive in Washington because Republicans have crafted a bill behind closed doors without the benefit of experts, without the benefit of transparency. You know, go around the state of Alabama, and I think you'll see that this whole idea of repealing the Affordable Care Act is not as popular as it once be. All of a sudden, people have started focusing in on health care, and they've seen that by repealing the Affordable Care Act, they're going to lose Medicaid, they're going to lose their health care. You know, we're a very unhealthy state. I mean, that's just a fact. I'd love to see that change. We're a poor state, we're an unhealthy state. This act that's being proposed right now would devastate the people of Alabama. And so I think you're seeing that around. So what I think people need to do is just hit a reset button. Just put this on the shelf for a little bit. Let the Senate, let the House have some hearings on the Affordable Care Act. What's worked, what hasn't worked, whether that involves tweaking the Affordable Care Act or coming up with a whole new bill. It doesn't really matter to me. I think that we need comprehensive health care. That is going to be a work in progress. I think that's the one thing that people forget about the Affordable Care Act when it was passed. It has become a political football because people attach President Obama's name to it. It's the Affordable Care Act, and it was always going to be a work in progress. Whenever you tackle a comprehensive, very difficult subject like health care, it's going to be a work in progress, and we can work through those issues if people will just talk to each other up there in Washington and not just talk at each other and pass that political football back and forth.
Sounds like as a senator you would not be for a plan to repeal it with nothing to replace it with.
Well, I don't think so, not at this point. I don't think you need to repeal. I think you need to have some hearings. You know, look, if the Affordable Care Act, after we hear from a lot of experts, is just totally not working, as some people try to say it is, which I don't believe, by the way, then sure, let's repeal it and start over. But you got to have a plan in place. You know, Republicans for so long just did a symbolic vote to repeal. That's where they box themselves in. This is not an issue about repeal. It's not an issue about replace. The issue is about affordable health care for all Americans, and that's what's getting lost in this debate. Let's have some more hearings about what's working, what's not working, and let's look to the future to what we can do best for the people of the United States and the people of this state. This state is hurting, and we need that comprehensive health care.
Let's talk about this issue with Russia. The intelligence community says Russia interfered with the 2016 presidential election. They all agree on that. President Trump remains unconvinced. Did Russia interfere, and what are your thoughts about the president refusing to agree with our own intelligence community?
Well, you know, look, everything that I have read, okay, and I'm not privy to the secret classified stuff at this point, but everything I've seen, everything I've read, all the statements on both sides of the aisle says that Russia did absolutely interfere, tried to probably do more. I've said from the beginning of this campaign, I think that's one of the most significant issues that we're facing in this country right now, because that threatens the very heart of our democracy. You know, years ago during the Cold War, Nikita Khrushchev said, you know, we're going to bury you without firing a shot. Well, he was just ahead of his time, because Putin and those guys are trying to do that right now. I think the president needs to take a step back, understand exactly what's going on, acknowledge what has happened, what's going on. This president seems to be more consumed with his popularity than he is about governing the country. He seems to be more concerned that this will somehow taint his presidency. Everybody recognizes he won this election. He is the President of the United States. Let's acknowledge what happened and try to protect the United States going forward. The other thing is, this is going to play out. It's going to be it's a serious matter, but it is a distraction. I do agree with the White House about that. It is a distraction from the serious issues going on. We need to let the investigative committees play it out, and we need to let the special counsel Bob Mueller play this out and let the chips fall where they're going to fall.